for nuclear weapons purposes. This is why it matters when we engage countries in nuclear commerce. It matters that we try and secure cutoff of fissile material production, and why, Dr. Arunachalam, I would suggest that India does not need a plutonium fuel cycle. One of the things that this deal would enable India to do is to buy low-enriched uranium fuel on the open market. Low-enriched uranium, by the way, is not weapons usable. You can't make a bomb out of it. And we ought to be moving toward fuel economies around the world that are based on low-enriched uranium. We ought to all be getting out of the plutonium business. We ought to all be getting out of the highly enriched uranium business. So let me stop with that.
Professor?
I have 3 observations. As we start working on the treaty, I'm sure that the Indians will put the power-producing reactors under international safeguards. The safeguards would start coming in as soon as we start getting the foreign uranium, and the continuous it will be continuous, and I don't expect that would be a problem. The question of plutonium and the fast breeder reactor, right now the fast breeder test reactor is in the research stage. It's not producing electrical power. It's going to be 10 or 15 years, 10 years or something before it starts producing power. When it starts producing power, I expect India will not only put that fast breeder reactor under safeguards, but will also provide the technology, because it's all very well to say plutonium is dangerous, so don't touch it. Methyl isocyanate was dangerous, but we were using it for pesticides. And I think we should know how to protect ourselves. And between terrorism and global warming, I put equal fear on both. And I would urge saying that we should start re-looking at the plutonium. And there are many technologies, like what you said about the low-enriched uranium. Like it is possible that we have, the South Koreans attempted some of these experiments of the plutonium generated in the same fuel. I mean, it's used as is. For instance, in a fast breeder reactor, it is possible that we can run it for 50 years without even removing and extracting especially the plutonium. There are possibilities that one could consider. But I would urge saying, looking at the energy potential, it is wrong for us to abandon plutonium, especially in a country that wants to be somewhat reliant, self-sufficient in energy.
Tezzy.
What George has suggested, and that's basically what's on the table by way of an answer to Prakash's question, what would you like to see in the agreement, falls into 2 categories. He suggested some provision for safeguards in perpetuity, at least on those facilities that the United States would work with, and he suggested a determination of which facilities would be considered civilian and therefore safeguarded. Those are both implementing issues which will have to be decided, which will have to be negotiated in ways that are satisfactory to both the United States and India. One of the tricky things in trying to shepherd this understanding to legal status on the Hill will be how much of that information, how much of that has been done by the time the Congress takes action. I look on those as things that will happen in the fullness of time and that need to happen. He also suggested an agreement, that the agreement be amended, and this is a change, let's be very clear about that, so that India would be committing itself not to produce any more fissile material. And he then said that this agreement would also bind the United States and the other current nuclear powers. Is that correct?
India be prepared to join a global moratorium on fissile material production for weapons, period, pending negotiation of treaty. So that means 5 are already prepared to do it. So if India, Pakistan, and Israel
right.
done.
Well, India has said it would join a fissile material cutoff treaty.
That's
so you're
different.
obviously looking at some instrument that's short of a treaty.
Right.
That's not what was negotiated.
Right.
If everyone else falls into place, that would certainly be very desirable. My view is you probably can't load too much